My name is Tars and I'm a 20-year-old student living in Belgium. Last summer, me and my friend Bert went backpacking through Macedonia for 10 days. I'm making this video because I got a lot of response and questions on my aftermovie about Macedonia, which will be linked in the description below. In this video I'm sharing my recommendations and experiences in Macedonia. First, we weren't quite sure how we should travel this country because we didn't find a lot of information on the internet. But that didn't stop us and we discovered a really great country. Hopefully this video will help to convince you to travel to this awesome and lesser known country. And of course make it easier to plan your trip. One of the questions I got was, is it safe? Yes, it's completely safe and the local people are very friendly and helpful. Another question I got was, what's the weather like? Well, in summer in Skopje it can be 30 to 35 degrees, which is pretty hot. But in Ohrid it can be 25 to 30 degrees. Finally, I want to share 5 things I love about this country. First of all, people are very friendly. It's very inexpensive. The food and the wine is great. The nature is lovely. And there are just so many things to do. Alright, so now let's see how we traveled Macedonia. So first of all, you need to know where you can situate Macedonia on the world map. The neighboring countries are Greece, Albania, Serbia and Bulgaria. So how do you get to Macedonia? We took a plane from Eindhoven straight to Skopje. We used the airline called Wizz Air. You can also fly to Ohrid, but it is a much smaller airport, so I'm not sure if there are a lot of flights to Ohrid. The third option is to fly to Sofia and rent a car to get to Macedonia, but that of course is a lot more expensive. I would recommend going to Skopje, as it is central and perfect to start your journey. We stayed 2 to 3 days in Skopje. First of all, you need to know that Skopje was destroyed years ago by a severe earthquake. Right now they are still rebuilding the city. However, the buildings and statues they are building are built in an old style, but they just look fake. As a friend of mine, my local friend, would say it's just like Disneyland. That's why a lot of statues and buildings are destroyed by throwing paint at it. The local people are against the fake rebuilding of their city. It's a strange sight. We met up with 2 of my local friends that guided us around. Shout out to Filippo and Nenad for guiding us. You really need to see the old bazaar just across the bridge. It's basically a big marketplace where they still sell everything you can think of. It's really awesome to see. There are a lot of great places to eat and drink at the old bazaar. Highly recommend it. The food in Skopje is great and very inexpensive compared to Belgium. A dinner will cost you €5 max. Wine is also great and inexpensive. Macedonia is a wine country, so I suggest you try some of their fine wines. Skopje has some really cool bars and clubs to party. Drinks are still cheap at those places, so perfect for partying on a student budget. And when you party enough, just take a taxi since they are very cheap as well. The next thing I would recommend is going to Matka Canyon, just outside Skopje. Don't take the public transport as it is overcrowded because it's such a popular place for the locals as well. The taxi will cost you €3 more but will be a lot more comfortable. The canyon is really a hidden treasure. It's almost as if you're in Norway but then a lot cheaper and hotter. You can rent some kayaks and discover the canyon yourself. I would really recommend doing this. The last thing I would recommend in Skopje is hiking up the mountain with the big cross at the top. It's a great hike, but start early in the morning as it gets too hot to continue during the afternoon. You can always take a cable car or combine both like we did. We hiked the first part and took a cable car to go to the top for the second part. From Skopje we took a bus to Ohrid. I would definitely recommend taking the bus. It's a 3-hour drive, but the bus is comfortable and costs about €7. Another option is renting a car, but that's more expensive. Or take a taxi, which will cost you somewhere between €50 to €100. You can book a bus ticket at the Skopje bus station. There are daily buses. Ohrid is probably the most touristic place in Macedonia. It's just perfect. You have a lot of bars and restaurants that are still very cheap. We rented again an Airbnb. It was a really nice Airbnb. We shared it with 4, so it was like 10-15 euros each a night. We had a stunning lake view and we had our own small beach. And the owner had kayaks, so that was awesome. So be sure to check out the Airbnbs at Ohrid. A lot of things to see and do in Ohrid. You can go sailing to Albania, go mountain biking or hiking in the surrounding mountains, visit the old part of Ohrid. The church is a must-see, especially at sunset. Nightlife is also great, a lot of cool bars and clubs. Overall, Ohrid is a great place to sit back, relax and have a lot of fun. After 3 days we went to a small town called St. Naum. This town is 2 kilometers from the Galicica National Park. The park is between the 2 big lakes. At first our plan was to hike up and over the mountain through the park in 2 days. Luckily we didn't do it. The climb is 8 kilometers to the top and it's on a boring road, so don't do it. We got dropped off by a local at the top and we were very glad we didn't climb the long road. So from the top you have a lot of nice views. If the weather is good, you can see both lakes at the same time. From the top we walked our way down. it was like 10 kilometers, but with our heavy backpacks it took a while. It started to get dark, so we were planning to set up camp when all of a sudden the third car of the day passed by and he stopped, asked us where we were going, and we didn't have a direction. He needed to go to Bitola, which was our goal for the next day, so we were very lucky that he went that direction, as it is still 45 kilometers from the bottom to Bitola. So we've won a day by taking that ride. Normally you can take a public bus at the main road at the bottom of the national park, but hitchhiking might be a faster solution because I don't know if there are many buses passing by. So in Bitola we booked a hotel through Airbnb, which was 10 euros a person, so very cheap. The room was small but clean, perfect for backpacking. Bitola is basically one big street with restaurants, bars and shops. It's a nice small city, but I wouldn't stay longer than 2 days here. It's also quite popular amongst tourists. For hikers, Bitola is a perfect base camp to go hiking in the really nice national park called Pelister. It's lovely and I would highly recommend doing this. You can take a taxi to the start of the park. At the entrance of the park you need to pay a fee to go in by car, so we didn't do this. Although it might be worth it because you lose at least 1 hour hiking a stupid road to the touristic information center where the hiking trails start. So if you don't want to lose an hour and energy, take the taxi to the touristic center. There you will find some information about the trails. You can do an 8-hour hike to the Baba mountain top, which is 2,600 meters high at its highest point. We didn't do it because we ran out of time. We started our trip in the sun that day, but 1 hour later we got caught in a storm, so we had to come back down. We cancelled our trip for that day. The path was also difficult to find, so be sure to have a good map. The woman at the information center told us that there is a better and nicer hike on the other side of the mountain. So the next day we went to the start of this hike. It's a 4-hour hike, 2 hours up and 2 hours down. You will climb 1000 meters of height, so be sure to take a sweater to the top. The start is situated at Nijipole. Finding the start can be a little bit difficult, so that's why I show you where it is on the screenshots. The hiking trail starts with these dirt paths. Make a screenshot of this and give it to a taxi driver, they will know where to bring you. Ask a driver if he can drop you there and if he knows the start of the hike. It's marked in red and white stripes, the universal stripes. It's a really nice hike to the top. At the top there is a small lake. It's at 2,100 meters, so it's awesome. Highly recommend doing this trip. When you are back in Nijipole, just ask a local to call you a taxi. Finally we went back to Skopje by taking a bus from Bitola, which was again very cheap. Thanks for watching, and if you enjoyed the video, please leave a like, and if you have any further questions, comment down below.